This is Tony Huggins here with you, and today I'm going to be talking about the colors and the baits you need to use for the seasonal patterns. So let's get started. Alright, best colors for fall, winter, spring, and summer. Alright, for fall, it doesn't really matter because for one, the bass are they don't care what you put in front of their face. They will eat, like they will like fight over something for it. And this is actually the season during September and November and October. I mean, you can really catch some big fish. I tell you what, I caught some big fish over the in the past, and but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what color, and it doesn't really matter what bait. So just you can use a crankbait, you use a top, or you use a spinnerbait, you can use a single. It doesn't really matter. Just use that bait, and they don't care what it is. So, and catch some big ones. All right, for winter, red and white colors are ideal for me down here in Virginia. I don't know about you guys, but let's see. I'll get to the baits here in a minute. On the next page. For I mean, for winter, it's just that I think the red color just imitates a craw. I mean, I don't really know what they eat in the winter, to be honest with you. But like for white, possibly some little bait fish or something like that. And use some I'll get to the baits here in a minute, but just those two colors are good for me. Spring, bluegill colors, crawfish colors, and anything when bass are spawning on the beds. So they hate bluegill, so use bluegill colors like a bluegill squarebill crankbait, and use a crawfish color crankbait or something like that, or like a creature bait or something like that. And when they're baiting, they don't care what color it is. Just they're just trying to defend their bed and protect their eggs. So that's ideal. Summer, I'll use bluegill. I'll use probably any type of colors. Bluegill colors, crawfish color, perch colors. Perch color is a yellow and orangish color. It's like sort of in the middle of that stuff. And shad looking colors. The bass will be feeding on bluegill, crawfish, and shad and perch, and they will also be feeding on possibly little baby bass. I don't even know, but their appetite can change just like that. But use those colors. All right. Base that bass will eat during fall, winter, spring, and summer. Fall, like I said, they'll eat anything. So from shad to crawfish, anything that they can fit in their mouths and eat. Top waters are good too. Just doesn't matter what it is, they will eat it. They'll chase it. So, winter. All right, never mind. I farted. Winter. You gotta be super slow for the bass. I mean, they're not gonna chase nothing. I mean, they're not gonna, like, if you get lucky, that one might chase it, but I don't know if. I mean, that's probably all you're gonna get. You gotta be super slow for these fish, and if you really want to catch some nice ones, you can catch some nice ones winter. Trust me. I mean, I caught actually a nice one. He was a freaking toad. Caught on my dad's boat. But baits that you're gonna have to use are shaky heads, drop shots, jigs, and anything that's slow. Crankbaits can also come into play for this season, but it just all depends about the water temperature. The water temperature, I think water clarity. I don't think that is, but water pressure and the activity level for the fish. So if they're in the if you get a lot of fish on crankbaits in winter, that's good. You're doing the right thing. Then that's how you know you have the right bait. So little crankbaits and mostly slow moving baits. For spring, man, it doesn't really matter for the baits. I mean it does matter, but I'll use swimming baits like swimming jigs, swimming super flukes, grass pigs, crankbaits, rattle traps, sinkos, top waters. But when the bass, yeah, never mind. When the bass are bedding, I mostly use sinkos and jigs. I have most of my success off of the sinko, but like it doesn't really matter because you'll catch fish off of both baits. Um, I'll use a crankbait when once the bass are baiting, and cause I'll use a bluegill color actually, and I'll use a bluegill colored square bill crankbait, and I'll race it um across the bed, and see if that fish will react to it. I'll give it a couple pauses on the bed once it comes to the bed, and then once it's approaching the bed, once it's now off the bed, and see if that bass reacts to it. If he does react to it, I'm gonna fish the bed. But if he doesn't react to it, I'll still fish the bed. I mean, you can take that single and jig and rub it against his if you can find that sweet spot and destroy his bed. Try not destroy, but he'll think that you're gonna eat his eggs. So uh but yeah. Oh, I also learned one thing about for the pros. I saw this one video, but either it was Mike Akinelli. I don't think it was Mike Akinelli. No, it wasn't. It was one pro. I forgot what his name was, but he used a he was probably off from the Elite series or the like college series level or something like that. But he used when they were bed fishing on I think Lake Gunnersville or something like that. I don't know. It was a long time ago, but he was using a medium direct crankbait, and what he would do is he'll go off 20 yards from the bed, so he'll stay like 20 yards away from the bed or more, and he'll take that medium direct crankbait, cast it across the bed, and then once that medium direct crankbait's bill is hitting the bed, he caught so much fish off of doing that. So he takes that medium direct crankbait, pow 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 pow, takes the crankbait's bill and then plops it on the fish's bed, and that really got the fish really mad. So that's ideal too. For summer, I'll use for me this is like a mixed fishing. I would just be junk fishing all day probably, because I'll have like 5 different poles with me. I'll have like a Cinco on me, a jig, a swimming bait, a crankbait, and a top water, and something else I don't know. But this season is actually one of the hardest seasons for me. Not the hardest, actually it's the second hardest. So second hardest season for me because these fish they're trying to find oxygen. So like say if one lake or one part of the pond, one part of the lake, the pressure is too high, and they move to another different spot to find more oxygen and less pressure. It just depends if the bass are feeding. But you just need to fish summer this season at the right time, because if you go out in the middle of the day and you think it's gonna it's sunny, it's blue skies, and you just want to go fishing, you're like, oh, I'm gonna catch a big one today. You come back home and you didn't catch nothing. It was probably because you weren't using the right bait. Probably because the fish weren't hungry, or they weren't just their activity level was low. It depends the water pressure or something like that, and but that's why it's the second hardest. Winter is my first hardest because you just gotta work that bait real slowly. So yeah. So that's summer. Yeah, for summer, Cinco jig, crankbait, it doesn't matter. You can use anything. Just find out what the bass are feeding on. What baits do you use when bass are feeding? Okay. When the bass are feeding on crawfish, I'll use like a crankbait with a crawfish color, like an orangish to a reddish color. And use caution, taking video while charging. Oh, okay. So hold on. Okay. All right. I gotta make this quick. I'm almost done. So um when they're feeding on crawfish, I'll use a jig with a packet chunk trailer on the back of it as a trailer or a rage tail rage craw to imitate the snot of the crawfish. Or I'll use a crankbait, like I said, with a crawfish color. Let's see. If the fish are feeding on shad, obviously I'll use like a swim bait, like a grass pig, or a swimming super fluke, Zoom, and from Zoom, and it will really imitate the snot out of the shad. Let's see, or a 60 shad looking color crankbait. If the fish are feeding on bluegill, I'll switch to a bluegill color. Like if I'm gonna fish a maybe a bluegill colored crankbait, or I can fish a just like a creature bait that's blue, and I could paint it just a little bit of reddish and stuff like that, so brown, and let's see, and if the fish are feeding on crabs, I mostly see fish feeding on crabs in rivers. So if they're feeding on crabs, I'll switch to like a woolly bug or something like that. You guys will probably know what I'm talking about. A young woolly bug. It's these things, you can't really quite see them, but I'll show them to you. It's like a creature bait, beaver type bait. So that will imitate a crab, and you can use that, or like, I don't know, a jig or something like that. If they're feeding on frogs, obviously I'm gonna fish a frog. I'm gonna fish a topwater frog, a fast-moving frog, or if the skies are white and my frog is white, I'll switch to a white popping frog, or I'll either switch to if they're feeding on shad, I'll switch to a white popping frog, or I'll fish to a darker color frog, because they won't be able to see that much if it's a white frog. But the reason why I'll fish if they're feeding on shad, I'll switch to a popping frog so that they can spot it more easily, because it has noise and make good blurps. And so let's see. Let's see. So yeah, that's it. But it takes time to figure out what like, for me, it's just if you're gonna fish in the summer, good luck. I mean, you will catch fish, trust me. But let's see. Okay. You will catch fish, but you just have to pick the right day. Fall, spring, and winter. Winter is another hard one, but fall and spring are two of the easiest fishing seasons you can fish. Trust me. But this is Tony Hines here, and I'll put a link in the description. Of if you guys don't know Kicking Their Bass, subscribe to them. I'll put a link in the description. And if you don't follow Andrew Flair Fishing or Big Bass Master 1, I'll put all their links in the description. And have a good day.